Hello everyone, welcome to Pep and Pep Talks. Back with another episode for Breaking Down Careers. And in this episode, we have Akshay Toshniwal, who is a technical lead at Mindtree. Now, apart from that, Akshay holds a lot of experience, like almost around 4 5 years of experience in working in the field of data science and artificial intelligence. And apart from that, he's also very much into making content about it, writing articles, sharing posts on LinkedIn, sharing tweets on Twitter about the same. And we are having him as our guest for today. And in this conversation, actually, we are going to talk more about what exactly is the difference between the ML, data science, and AI. We are going to talk about how his day looks like as a technical lead at a really amazing company called as Mindtree. And on top of that, we are also going to talk about how his daily life is like. How does he create content with having a full time job at a company? And we are going to talk about time management, personal finance, and a lot more. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Yeah. So, hello everyone. Welcome to Pep and Prep Talks. This is finally happening. I was contacting Akshay for so long to have him in an episode for the podcast. Now, today it's finally happening. So, he's here. So, welcome, Akshay. I'm really glad to have you on this podcast episode. And I'm really looking forward to ask you many questions and get to know a lot of things from you because even I am interested in data science and AI and ML. I want to know a lot, basically. So, welcome. And before we proceed, how about you introduce yourself first to the audience and whoever is listening to us? Yeah.
Sure, absolutely, Bilwa. I mean, thank you so much for having me over here. I mean, I completely agree by you. It's been, quite a long time since we were planning, and I'm so glad, and it's completely my pleasure, to be here and be a part of your Pep and Prep Talks show. So,
Yeah.
my name is Akshay Toshniwal, and I work at Mindtree as a technical lead in the data and intelligence department. So, my primary focus lies into, working with data science and AI, and currently I'm specifically working on computer vision problems, which deals with image and videos and things like that. Besides my full-time role, I also, I love content creating. So I write some technical articles, some blogs, and in my free time, obviously, I'm quite, a very keen user of two primary social media platforms, which is LinkedIn and Twitter. So, I try to create and curate content for these kind of platforms. So, yeah, that's all about me. And yeah, besides that, I'm an associate editor for the AI Times Journal. So, wherein, I try to connect with data science influencers and people like leaders in the data science and AI industry and get to know about their experiences and how they are doing in their data science journey, something like that.
Wow, the last part I really like a lot, considering even I bring people and I want to talk about it. That's really cool. So let's
Right.
start with the first part I want to focus on is your job. You said you are the technical lead at Mindtree. So can you
Right.
describe what the job is like? Since you said you work on computer vision, I'm more intrigued.
Sure, definitely. So right now, my job as a technical lead is definitely to manage a very small set of team, work in a collaborative manner, and also I personally program and develop systems. So like I love Python programming, so definitely I'm into programming part as well. And talking about computer vision, like in the umbrella of AI, my three favorite fields, if you ask me, are computer vision, NLP, that's natural language processing, and obviously machine learning and the basics of that. So in computer vision, we are trying to create a platform which helps in detecting some kind of objects and in images as well as in video frames. And besides that, we're also working on some classification problems, which will help in streamlining the entire process of image classification by using multiple algorithms, not just one, but in a way that the user has uh, a provision to select any sort of classification model and get an understanding how different models perform. So something on that front we are currently working on. And besides that, I also worked on a clustering problem at Mindtree where the problem was focused to segmenting customers based on their buying patterns on e-commerce websites. So, how frequently they buy, how much they buy, like the monetary value, and how recently they've bought it. So that was focused to something called as the RFM model. So quite an interesting problem. If you
Yeah.
want to understand your customer psychology of buying products. So you can do a lot of things in that area, and it's a very growing area because retail sector is one such sector where the data is increasing day by day due to the e-commerce platforms that we are using, and this has actually grown after the pandemic hit because people are now relying more shopping online and stuff. So they have increased their buying patterns online. So that's why this is a very good problem if someone wants to focus on, which is to actually understand customers and bifurcate them based on how they are spending their money and on what products they are spending. So this is kind of a work that I do, and I've recently joined. So this is what the current exposure that I have right now.
Right. So, Mindtree, I've heard of the company. So, do they primarily focus on AI and ML things, or are they like diversified? Have they diversified their departments or
Um,
something?
they are diversified. So they work on front end, they work on back end, they work on cloud.
Right.
They have one department which is data and intelligence that primarily focuses on big data analytics, the vision, NLP, ML ops, and all these kind of things. But obviously, they're quite diversified, uh, located all over the world, and has great number of clients as well.
That's amazing. Quite a good exposure, I must say. And then coming on to the part where you mentioned about your three favorite fields, but I'd like to focus more on the basics. Like there are three terms that are like thrown around quite often on any social media platform you see. That is data science, there is ML, and there is AI, artificial intelligence. So can you like maybe point out the key difference in these three terms because they're often used quite interchangeably and not everyone will get the difference or the
Right.
where to draw the line basically, so why not you throw
Sure.
some light on that? Yeah.
Sure, sure. So, this is a very interesting question. I mean, as you rightly said, many people are confused, specifically students who are just trying to enter this field. And more number of today non-technical people are, interested in switching to a data science and AI ML career because they see a good amount of future and they think that, okay, it's a high-paying job. Many people switch to this because they consider that data science, like being a data scientist will get you a good salary, but it involves a lot of work. Like it's not only about the salary, it's not only about the money. The amount of efforts that you need to take just to understand the data is a lot. I mean, you need to give a lot of time to that. There's a lot of hard work and a lot of challenges to bifurcate data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Now, data science comes before ML and AI. Okay, it is only playing around with the data. Okay, so you get the data, you understand what the data is, you understand the patterns, you visualize it. So you get the trend, you get to understand the trends in the data, you get to understand the patterns, and you can form some different kind of visualization. Now, this data that you've actually got from somewhere, you've processed it and you've visualized it. This data is actually used as an input for your AI system. Now, the key difference between AI and ML is AI is the larger picture and ML is a subset of AI. So ML sits inside AI. So there is nothing called as that artificial intelligence is one field and machine learning is another field. Nothing like that. AI is one field, machine learning comes under that field of artificial intelligence. So that's how it works. So you've got first data science, then you've got machine learning, and after that you've got AI, is which is a vast area. It includes deep learning, it includes neural networks, computer vision, natural language processing, robotics, a lot of things.
Yeah.
Um, so machine learning. is that area where so you can the roadmap, if you ask me. So first you'll have data science, where you actually play around with the data, you clean it, you pre-process it, you visualize it, you understand whatever the data has. Okay, so you understand the data, its context. You put this data to machine learning model. Okay, to do some kind of predictive analytics, to do some classification, clustering, any sort of model. So machine learning is the area where you put some algorithmic model. Okay, and after this machine learning comes AI. So if you want to automate this, you want to deploy it, you want to include deep learning to it, then comes AI, which is the bigger picture. So that's how it flows. So it's a misconception by many people that AI ML are different. No, they're not. Data science is slightly different. I won't say a lot, because it is actually interconnected. Okay,
Yeah.
because if you do not have data science, you won't have a seamless or a very well structured data for your machine learning model. Okay,
Right.
so that's why many people are actually confused nowadays between a data engineer and a data scientist. These two things, many people are confused. Like, what is the role of a data engineer and what is the role of a data scientist? Data engineer is only working on the unstructured data. It cleans it, processes it, and gives the input to the data scientist. Now, data scientist is the one who will actually generate insights out of it. Okay,
Right.
and then a machine learning engineer will actually do the modeling step. It will actually create the training pipeline, the prediction pipeline, and then finally deploy it. So that's how it works.
Interesting. Yes, good that you pointed out the engineer and scientist part. And Okay, one more question I had was usually whenever you are applying for an ML engineering role or any kind of data related roles, they expect you to have a good competency in SQL as well and
Yeah,
Python, which is the primary language, or sometimes R. So, why don't
yeah,
you even tell us about how these languages are used? SQL is basically for database, but I want to know like how specifically it is used because data found or any data set is usually unclean. Like I don't know how to correlate it. So maybe you should tell me how to do that. Yeah.
sure, sure. So basically, like when we talk about this AI ML data science field, one of the basic primary skills that you need to have is math and statistics. Okay, the basics, not very complex. So you need not know everything, but you need to know something so that you understand the complexities and you can customize your model, your algorithms based on your preference. Then comes the programming part. Now, programming primarily, as you said, two languages are used, which is Python and R. Python is largely used for a few reasons because it's an all-rounder language. So you can create a web interface, you can integrate your
Right.
ML on the web interface and do everything. You can create APIs quite easily. It has a huge community support as well. Open source, great community support. R is more of a functional language, more of a statistical programming language. So if you want to perform some kind of core statistical analysis, that time you make use of R. So data engineers usually prefer R because there's a lot of statistics involved in there. But for modeling purpose, algorithmic stuff, Python is preferred more because there are actually bunch of libraries already available. Pre-trained models are already available. So in just 10 lines of code, you can actually create a regression model in Python.
Right.
So that's what the advantage of Python programming is. And definitely it's quite easy. Like it's just plain English. Uh, you need to follow a certain kind of syntax because that's the rule of any programming language. But yeah, it's quite simpler as compared to its other counterparts.
Right.
Talking about SQL, SQL is definitely, as you said, it's used for your backend database to actually store the data. But nowadays, SQL is limited, like it's used in a very limited manner because we are now encountering big data. So to handle this big data, people usually prefer Databricks. They prefer cloud. They sometimes prefer NoSQL as well, where you can actually play around with any sort of data, be it structured, unstructured, anything, so that you can put it in NoSQL. SQL as the full form suggests, it's a structured query language. It is very important to have your data structured, and then you can make use of it. So first, the data engineer will have to structure your data, put it into an SQL database, and then you can maybe use it. But if you want to directly, get your hands dirty on an unstructured data without storing it anywhere, or
Hmm.
storing it somewhere, then you can make use of NoSQL as well. And if the data set is very huge, you're dealing with big data, then you should focus on some platforms like Databricks, SaaS, and cloud, where your computation power is not very used of your system, because then your processing becomes slower and you don't get the desired output. So yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, we can completely talk about like big data and everything in like another episode possibly, because it's such a huge concept to
Yeah,
cover, right? There are many
absolutely.
other technologies which are used, that is Hadoop and this thing. I don't know, like
Yeah.
I'm so clueless about what to pursue, so I'm literally exploring everything. So I just know the terminologies. Yeah. Okay. So coming to the roadmap part, like for example, if I want to become a data scientist, let's say, then what would you suggest to me that I should be having, like prerequisites or some you can say experience as well. Like if you want me to make some projects, maybe mention that too. So let's just tell me about that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, see, the basic roadmap. Now, there are two things.
Hmm.
If you're a technical person, the roadmap, the road, and the path becomes a bit simpler for you to follow.
Hmm.
If you're a non-technical person, there are a certain challenges, but if you
Hmm.
follow it consistently, you can definitely, go through it. So
Yeah.
if you talk about the roadmap, the first and foremost, as I said before as well, math and statistics is very important. Not very
Hmm.
complex. Your 10 standard and 12 standard maths is more than enough. Like the basics of linear algebra, the basics of probability, and the basics of statistics, which includes your mean, median, mode, hypothesis testing, and very basic concepts which are actually used for understanding your data and its processing at a deeper level. Once you're done with this, then you start your programming stuff. My recommendation would be that programming like Python is easy. It's easy. There are pre-trained models, but always try to create models from scratch by using mathematics, by using statistics. Try to create a regression model not by using packages or libraries in Python, but by actually implementing all the mathematical formulas in Python programming and then coming to the output. So that will obviously improve your programming. That will also give you an understanding of how a particular algorithm is, it works in the back end. You know, because many people think that okay, regression is linear regression is y equals to mx plus c, like it follows the linear equation, and it is used for predictive analytics. Great, but what happens in the backend? Many
Yeah.
people are not aware of it. So if you create your own model from the scratch, you'll understand what is happening behind. Okay, and obviously it will improve your programming as well. Besides that, in the industry, in the market right now, data, like dealing with data is a bit sensitive because it includes a lot of confidential information as well. And that's why, companies and organizations prefer a good amount of experience. Like freshers are left out because freshers think that we are not suitable for this kind of role. But
Hmm.
it is very important that even freshers can go for such kind of roles. Having said that, like they need to have a portfolio of it. Okay,
Hmm.
so build projects. Okay, you need to build projects. If you're just learning and practicing, that won't serve the purpose because you do not have anything to show to someone that okay, you've done this or you've done that. So always build a portfolio. Now, a portfolio can be very simple if you're trying to focus on the data science area. If you want to become a data scientist or a machine learning engineer, you're going to implement all the machine learning algorithms one time at least, which includes
Hmm.
regression for predictive analytics, classification, and clustering. Basic ones, but this is my personal opinion. It can be different for different people. Do not work on standard data sets, please. Iris data
Hmm.
set, fashion data set, please do not work on that. The
Hmm.
entire world is working on that data set. Do something unique, do something different. Kaggle is one of the greatest source to get
Mm.
a data set, and you can get a lot of real time data sets as well. So always try to focus on working with real time data sets, because see, fashion data set and this iris data set is structured. It's
Yeah.
defined already, and you can get the code easily. Like if you search on the Google like a machine learning model for iris data set,
Mhm.
you'll get it in minutes, and that
Yeah.
code you just need to put it in your Python and you'll get it. But this kind of project, 100 people are doing or 1,000 people are doing.
Mm.
What makes you stand apart? So in order to stand apart, you need to work on your own data set on some real case scenarios. Like consider a YouTube data set, Netflix data set, something like that. Something different, and then work on
Mm.
that. That is one. Second, connect with people, join
Mm.
communities, watch Pep and Prep Talk show so that you get some insights on how things work in industry.
Mm.
I saw your channel. I mean, I'm going a bit off track, but I saw your channel and you have some amazing set of videos where you're actually highlighting people on how do you join Microsoft, how do you join
Yeah.
uh, this thing, Google. So
Google.
I recently saw these two videos. So you need to interact with communities. You need to interact with people, because that's where you get immense amount of knowledge. Because people in the industry are sharing their experiences and sharing their knowledge. So understanding directly from them is like way better and nothing better than that. So that's what the roadmap is. If you want me to summarize it, I'll say it like that. The first step is get your mathematics and statistical skills. Second step, work on your programming. Python are your choice completely. Third, build projects, your own set of portfolio. Work on unique data sets. Don't work on data sets which the entire world is working. Not going to make you different, not going
Mm.
to stand you apart. And last, join communities, interact with people, and understand what they are doing and how they are doing it. Because if you see, you have one perspective, the other
Yeah.
person has some other perspective. And obviously, experience counts in such kind of a field. AI/ML is more of a research-oriented field
Mm.
rather than just plug and play or development kind of field.
Right.
Everything, like if I'm creating a model today, okay, and if I've deployed it, and tomorrow, if I want to check the accuracy with some more data, it will change. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more of a research oriented field. I need to constantly monitor, track, and understand how I can improvise it. So join communities, interact with people, and that's how you can. And whatever you do it consistently. Don't think that the other person is doing or the people are doing. That's what you want to do. Do it because do it only if you love it. Only
Yeah.
then you will be able to enjoy
Enjoy.
the path. Yeah, because they, to be very honest, this field is looks great from the outside, but it's challenging. It's There's a lot of effort required when you actually get some data which is not there on Google. Okay, and you want to understand it, and you don't get any help from Stack Overflow, not from anywhere. So
Yeah.
that comes, the challenging part, and you hit a roadblock and something like that. So do it if you love it, and this, you can follow the roadmap and become a great data scientist.
Yeah, that was a great answer. And I think I'll follow this now to get another job. Yeah. I mean, it's a really I must say a hot field because I don't know, something
Yeah,
doesn't die out about it, like it doesn't become monotonous for some reason because data is generated like almost every day. You're going to find like tons of data, like anywhere. You put a sensor in your room and you just collect the data. That's how easy is it to find the data. So yeah,
right.
so anyone who is basically looking forward to jumping into this field, I think they should do it right away. And this is the segment which I'm going to put out separately because this is something I want people to know how to approach and how to come into this field if they are really willing to. Now, coming to the second part, you mentioned in your LinkedIn, was that you are an international partner at World Business Angels Investment Forum. Now, what do you do over there is
Yeah.
what I want to know. Yeah.
Sure. So, like World Business Angel Investment Forum is actually it's an organization. It's a non-profit organization. It's a committee which works on social, economic, and political developments of the world. Okay. Now, there are around 49 countries who are a part of this, and from each country, there are certain kind of partners. So these partners are called as international partners. Now, the primary responsibility of these partners is to actually understand what is going in and around there in their own country,
Hmm.
provide some kind of inputs to the World Business Angel Investment Forum in order to create some kind of policies which can actually help in sustainable development, which can help in economic development, so on and so forth. They also have a startup fund, which say for example, if there's any startup in India and if they want to pitch into WBF, so they can approach the international partners. International partners can put up the pitch deck, and they can be a sort of a communicator between or a mediator between the entrepreneur and the investment forum. So that's how it works. I mean, they constantly work with government agencies as well of
Hmm.
different countries, and many government people are also part of this angel investment forum, and they are actually the primarily policy maker kind of people, and we are the ones who actually provide our opinions, suggestions, and some kind of recommendations if need be, and accordingly that's how this entire forum works.
Nice, pretty interesting. And moving on to the next part, is I want to ask about the content creation part. I didn't mention it before, but how do you manage your time for content creation? Or is this just like you, even you create content related to usually data science or AI, you write something just to guide people around. So is it something you love doing, like telling people, okay, this is how you do it, or this is, this is how it's done? So how do you manage to find
Yeah.
time basically? Yeah.
I, I love making people aware of
Hmm.
different technology, different tech stack, what is happening, what is not. I love that. I mean, it feels great to me because I actually started blogging 3 years back on a platform, but I gave up on that because nothing was happening. To be
Hmm.
very honest, my primary reason for starting a blog was to earn money. I'll be very
Okay.
honest. But when I didn't see that growth in terms of
Hmm.
revenue, I gave
Hmm.
up. But then after having said that, I got a few responses from people that why are you not writing? We are,
Oh.
we didn't see your articles and things like that. So I thought that you would write for at least one reader who's actually reading your article and enjoying it.
Hmm.
And that's when I, started my blogging journey in a very consistent manner. And I wrote articles on Medium, on a few publication websites,
Yeah.
and like that. So then my goal and my vision actually changed from money
Hmm.
to actually making people aware because what you write and what you share, many people actually correlate, many people
Yeah.
get influenced by that. So it is very important that whatever you write and whatever you share, uh, it's okay if it's not 100% right, but it shouldn't
Hmm.
be 100% wrong. Because if it's
Hmm.
100% wrong, people might get influenced in the wrong direction.
Right.
They might get impacted in the wrong direction. Uh, so then, I started making some quality content. I started curating some content, get some content, I guess, from people like you because I mean, you are creating some amazing content on
Thank
Twitter and
you.
LinkedIn as well, and there are other content creators as well. So from them, I got a few ideas on how do you do it in order to, create a lasting impact, and that's how I started off. And I enjoy it, to be very honest. Taking time out is a bit difficult. So what I do, Notion, that's a great tool, and many people
Yeah.
they talk about it on many platforms. So I thought of
Yeah.
exploring it, and that tool has helped me a bit in managing my content calendar. So something that I've prepared. I'm trying, still struggling to follow that calendar consistently, but at times I do it, at times I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, the content creation process I enjoy a lot. What one thing I know is that I'm never retiring, at least from my content creation part. I'm forever going to create it,
Same.
and forever I'll always try that. No matter how small, big your content is, or no matter what genre is, I primarily love two genres. My favorite are two areas. My favorite: technology and finance.
Hmm.
Finance, obviously, I'm not a very expert because I'm not
Yeah.
from a commerce background, but I love that area. I mean, I love it. And the combination of technology and finance is like amazing. If
Amazing.
you if
Yeah.
you know how to if you know how to collaborate it, it's super awesome. So I just love creating content. If someone is seeking help, I I I want to do it anyhow. I just want to provide whatever I have. I just want to give all the inputs to the other person. So I just love
Yeah.
doing that.
I really relate to you with the content creation, but I don't want to stop. Like when I said today, I tweeted, I said I'm finally feeling like myself. I said it because I was going to record an episode for the podcast. That's why I said it. That's something that
Okay.
really motivates me to study. Like, I don't know, something happens to me and I'm just like so into it. Okay, what should I ask? How should I talk? Because sometimes I tend to go blank. Like even while I'm with the guest, I'm just like, okay, what do I say now? That shouldn't happen, right?
Right.
So I'm just pre-preparing. I'm like, okay, I'll say this, I'll say this, I'll ask this. If I go out of questions, I'll back up. Yeah, that is what happens. So that's how I was feeling so active about it. Yesterday I had like a pretty chill day, but today I was so active. I want to ask this. So yeah, even I'm not planning to stop because I know for a fact that if I continue doing some monotonous job, for example,
Mhm.
or I end up like, this is full-time job, then later on you don't feel like doing anything. But this is something that gives me energy. So I'm never planning to stop this. This is going to be
Exactly.
amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting to the part where I'm pretty sure you have gone through your college days, and of course everyone reminisces it, but how was the transition like? Like for example, getting through college, doing all the PG and everything, but then coming to the job life, coming to the real world, if for example you can say, how was the transition like and what did you learn and what would you like to convey to people who are like, final year and they are suddenly like, okay, what do I do next? Something like that.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's a pretty interesting question. Maybe I'm too young to answer that, but I'll try my best to answer it based on whatever experience I have. So, the transition is like I've become more matured. That's what I think. Number one,
Hmm.
uh, I think more on the positive side of stuff. No matter how bad things go,
Hmm.
uh, there's always a chance that like you get an opportunity to bounce back and come back stronger. That's what I think. In college days, obviously the life is more chilled out. I mean, you
Hmm.
relax. No matter what you do, doesn't impact
Right.
anything, anyone. Uh, as soon as you step out of the college, you enter the life, the world of life and something called as life, the college of life, something like that. You start working, you start earning money. That's when you actually understand the value of it. You understand the value of people because
Hmm.
college doesn't teach you all that. It just
Yeah.
teaches you to get marks, clear the degree, get a certificate, and get some job. But when you meet people, every day you learn something new.
Hmm.
Your learning never stops. If you have that zeal in you, you're gonna learn every day.
Hmm.
There's no stopping to it. Every day.
Right.
Like today, we two are communicating. I'm sure post to this call, I have learned a lot of things from you, and
Hmm.
maybe you have learned a lot of things from me as well.
Right.
So this learning never stops when you actually transition your life from college to something in a professional front.
Hmm.
Because you meet people, you know them, you know experiences. You
Hmm.
talk about ideas instead of talking about other people. You become more mature. You talk about ideas. You
Right.
talk about how to get things done. And yeah, I mean, my one advice, I'm not sure if I should say that, but your college life is just one. I guess it's just 1% or 5% of what your life is, what your entire life is, because that is just one very small and a miniature part in your life. But your actual life will start off when you actually get out of that
Right.
college and start working. No matter if you work in a corporate, you work on your own, you build a startup, you do freelancing, no matter what work you do, uh, any kind of work in terms of professional, like from the professional perspective, your life will be in an altogether different direction. And final year students right now who all are there in college, please do not stress out much. I mean, life is much more simpler than people think. It's not very complex. We make it complex by overthinking, by overdoing few things.
Yeah.
But life is way more simpler. Take it easy, take it lightly, and do what you love. Always have that philosophy. Because if you are doing something because the other person is doing, you're gonna stop it at some point in time.
Right.
Okay. So consider the example of wanting to become a data scientist. Many people want that. Say for example, you wanted, one of your friend wants it.
Yeah.
Your friend loves it, but you do not. You just want
Hmm.
to do it because your friend is doing. Your friend will go places, but you will stop at some point in time. You
Hmm.
will give up. You will have to switch to some other career because you're not
Right.
loving it. When you love something and you do it, it's called as passion. But when you don't love something and you do it, at some point in time it will become stress, and you
Right.
just give up out of it. So
True.
don't stress out much. Just chill. Right now you're in final year. Enjoy. Once you enter the professional front, I'm sure you'll learn every day.
Hmm.
You'll become a much better person. You'll get to know yourself in a much better way. And the best thing about professional life is that you meet new people and you
Hmm.
learn new things. So that's how you grow, eventually.
Nice. Very nice answer. Yeah. So, talking about a random day, like in your life, like in the full time job, like how does your day look like usually? Like, is it too busy or I know you like what you're doing, but I just like to know how does it look like to be in a job at a company, like whatever you're working on, like computer vision, let's say. How does your day look like from waking up to the evening part? Just to give an overview to people whoever, let's say they're thinking of switching jobs. That's the whole point of the podcast, right? If they're thinking of switching careers or switching jobs, or they want to know what this role looks like, you need to know the day. How does it look like? How does it go? Then they can think about it that, okay, whether they actually want this. So that's why I'm asking the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, my entire day is very relaxed and chilled out because we all are working from home right now. This
Yeah, that's
working
right.
from office has definitely be something different, but right now it's very chilled out. I wake up quite early, sometime around 5:30, sometimes 6 a.m.
Hmm.
in the morning. I go for a walk. Uh, Not maybe every day, but alternate days. Uh,
Hmm.
just start with that habit, and after that, I have my breakfast and I sit to work. Now, when I work, obviously I do the work that has been allotted to me. Besides that, I explore new things, focus to my work. Say, for
Hmm.
example, if I'm working in computer vision, I explore things that are happening right now in computer vision.
Right.
So, one thing that I recently explored is that Microsoft came up with a research study of synthetic phase generation in 3D.
Hmm.
So that's one research area that Microsoft is working on. Very interesting. So that's what I do. So no matter what area you work in, you do that. But at the same time, you explore what are the current trends
Hmm.
and what are the current research that is happening in that area. Because as I said before as well, AI ML is more research oriented rather
Right.
than just a development kind of system. So I do that. Then I spend time with my family, with my wife. So
Hmm.
that's how it goes. And yeah, that's it. And then I spend some time with people on social media. So I
Hmm.
communicate with them. I try to connect with people. Twitter, LinkedIn, two platforms I use a lot. Twitter and LinkedIn. Facebook, I was a user, but now I've been a bit reluctant to use Facebook. I'm a bit scared based on where Facebook is heading, so I have reduced the usage of that. But yeah,
Hmm.
Twitter and LinkedIn, two of my favorite platforms. Great people and great information you get there. So I be active 1 or 2 hours on Twitter and LinkedIn both, and yeah, that's it. I try to then curate some content, write something
Right.
like that. That's how my day goes.
Nice, nice. So I don't have much questions left. Just in case you want to share some insights about personal finance, like managing finances or anything you have to say, like what you know personally. All right, I don't want you to generalize it.
So personal finance is definitely very important
Hmm.
for anyone and everyone, no matter
Hmm.
if you're in college or like if you're a student or a working professional. It's very important. You need to understand the value of money.
Hmm.
You need to understand the value of investing. So I started investing a bit late. I wish I had started earlier. But if you are a student, then you got to start investing as early as possible. It's good because that helps build a corpus of finance for you
Hmm.
in the future, which will eventually help you and your family.
Right.
So it's very important to manage. It is very important to budget things every month, maybe. Uh, every day is difficult. Obviously, people don't do that. But yeah,
Hmm.
every month it is good that you follow a certain amount of budget that you want to spend, that you want to save, and that you want to invest. So you divide your personal finance into three things: spend, save, and invest.
Hmm.
Your spend should be limited, your save also should be limited, but your investment should be uh, good. I mean, your save and investment should be balanced, and your spend should be low. Because saving is we do it for emergency, and
Yeah.
so that you have it ready for some kind of unexpected situations. But
Hmm.
investment is a good thing that you need to focus on. That can be anything. That can be stocks, gold, uh, crypto. Crypto is booming right now.
Yeah.
Everyone is talking about Web 3.2, crypto, NFTs, and things like that. Uh, NFT is a bit costlier to go because they have that gas fees and stuff. But
Yeah.
you can start off with crypto investment, gold. Gold is
Hmm.
very like it's become very easy to invest in gold.
Yes.
Many applications come up with buying and selling of virtual gold, and you can get it
Yes.
delivered at your doorstep. So all that stuff. And you've got equity stocks. So if you're interested in share market, you
Hmm.
can do stock investment, long-term investments. I won't suggest any beginner to go ahead with trading. Trading is a bit risky. It is very volatile. You may lose out your money on that. But
Yeah.
focus on long-term investments, long-term horizons. When I say long-term, it means at least 5 years of time. Not even 3 years.
Hmm.
At least 5 years of time span. What I mean is by long-term.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how you can get your finances managed well.
Yeah, pretty good answer, brief answer, and it's not like focusing on something like specific. Yeah, that's nice. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
yeah, you can't generalize for everyone according to me, personal finance, because everyone's circumstances is different. Like some people might
correct,
have
correct.
a debt as well, so they need to focus on the part where they need to pay that off first. So I just asked this
Correct,
because if anyone can relate to the situation, they can possibly like use that advice. So
correct.
yeah, so that's all from my side. Any final points you want to tell the audience from your end, or else we can conclude the episode? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the final point would be that just do what you love. No matter it's content creating,
Hmm.
programming, freelancing, entrepreneurship, working for a corporate. Do anything, everything, but do what you love. That's it. That's what I want to say.
Great then. So Akshay, it was amazing having you. I'm finally like grateful, in fact, that we could record this podcast because I don't know. This is I don't know. I got to learn a lot of things. I got to discuss a lot of things. I got to learn the difference between data engineer and scientist, which I didn't know, and many other terminologies. And I'm making sure to, upload this video soon, as well as make clips out of it, because there are some segments which I thought were important for people to know. You know, right? The attention span is decreasing a lot, so people hate like watching long form content, and like last two
Yeah,
videos were like
definitely.
over 1 hour. So I was like to my co-host,
Yeah.
let's just divide it into short videos and we'll put one thing out. That will just suffice. And maybe the point of conveying the message to people would help, like would be achieved rather. Yeah. So yeah, I'm thankful for you to give time to this episode, especially, and it was amazing having you. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bilwa, as well. And it was really wonderful, talking to you. And as you said, we've been planning this since a while, so this has become more interesting, because we've been waiting to talk to each other and
Yeah.
understand our point of view. So this has been more fun, and it was a pleasure talking to you and discussing all these kind of things. I hope people find it useful, and they get some value out of it.
They will, definitely. I got some value out of it. So one person is already there. Yeah.
That's great. That's so good
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah. So that's great. I'll end this session then. Okay, recording
Sure.
this.